What is going on? This is Dave, and you are going to listen to another art lesson. So yes, as I said again, this is Art Lessons, and I'm your host, Dave Connery, and what you are listening to is an experiment in sharing. The purpose of this show is to express real-time ideas about building a creative business and life in only the way I know can. Only the way I know I can. We're going without edits. Okay, I will edit. I promise I will edit, but we are going to go with mostly edits except for the funny ones. So today what we're going to talk about is the mindset and why it matters, and also know thyself. Kind of those two things intertwined. The more that you know yourself, the more likely your mindset will be facing the right direction, and if it's not facing the right direction. But first, a little housekeeping, because I'm gonna get on this tip because it's important. Folks, if you haven't subscribed to the show yet, please do. You know where it is. There's that subscribe button right there in the app. And if you haven't done that yet, which you probably have, but if you haven't done that yet, please do that. Also, if you are enjoying what you're listening to, go ahead and share that sucker with your friends, because, you know, there are more people like you who probably need something just like this in their life, and I would be happy to be the man to do that for them. Finally, let's make sure that you guys go over to iTunes and rate and review the show if you haven't done so already, because right now is critical. Super critical for me to get this show out into the hands. Hands? Yeah, not so much hands, right? It's more like ears and eyeballs for the YouTubers. And we're trying to get that into their faces or eardrums or wherever as much as possible. And the reviews help that. The more you review the show, the more likely I'm going to leap up into the lists of people who know good things about good stuff like creative projects. Do me that favor, go to iTunes and hit me up there. Subscribe, rate, like. And if you're watching on YouTube, just, you know, subscribe and like and share. You know, do all the things. All right, housekeeping done. Boom. So yes, mindset. It matters. Why does it matter? Because if you do not have the correct mindset about the things that you are doing, then it's possible you may not be doing the best possible work. Just a thought. I could be wrong, but I'm probably not. Let me tell you a little story about why I am so pumped up today. It's because I started this recording just shy of my workout, my morning workout, and I have this thing that happens every single time. In fact, it happened just earlier before I got on the mic today. I went to go work out, and then I was so pumped and excited I got on my Instagram stories and I recorded a real quick Instagram stories about the meal that I was having for lunch after my post-workout meal. And I was like, God, go, Dave, go, yes, yay, go, let's break stuff and make good things. Super motivated. And why is that? Well, I'll tell you, it's because I am so pumped up after the gym that I'm just like, my blood's pumping, the endorphins are pushing through my system, and I'm just ready to go. And that has been one of the critical pieces of this whole puzzle for me, going to work out. Now, this is my thing. Right? This is my thing. I'm not saying, hey, everybody go start a gym membership today. What I'm saying is that the gym helps me get there. I get out of the gym, and then the first thing I want to go do is eat a good meal and then go and do really good work. That's the way it always works, because I'm just ready to go. I'm just raging to do great stuff. Now, I don't always do great stuff, and sometimes I do end up just sitting on the couch for a little while. But for the most part, I want to go and do great stuff. And it just keeps the mind moving in a very positive way, especially if I don't have mountains of other things on my mind. But more important than the fact that I am super motivated is that when somebody hears what I have to say, at least as it was today when I got on the Insta stories, somebody quickly hit me back and said, boom, Dave, you got me energized. And that is the key to it all for me. Like, when I do what I do, I go to the gym, I get super motivated, I get on the microphone or the camera or whatever and get super motivated there, and then that turns around and helps somebody else get super motivated, and they get to go do their thing. And that is the best stuff ever. That's really where I start to shine. That's like when I know that I'm doing the right thing. Like, this is the right thing. Because I like to use these platforms to get into your head, like an infection in the wound of your creative mind. That's a terrible reference, Dave. But yes, I want to be infectious. I want to infect you with positivity and motivation. And I know that sounds cheesy as hell, but I swear that's what I think. That's what I believe. I believe that mindset is responsible for a large portion of the things that we struggle with. And when I say that, I mean the negative mindset. When we have these negative mindsets, those are a lot of times the cause of all our stress and strife. But if we're able to flip that, if we're able to flip the script on that, then it can change everything. And when I change that moment for somebody by reaching out here, that's the best juice in the world to me. Absolutely the best juice in the world. I want to pause for a brief second to let you know that if you hear a strange buzzing sound, which you may or may not, but if you do hear a strange buzzing sound, it's my fan. And I have the fan going. Normally I wouldn't have the fan going, but it is so hot in the studio today, you're just going to have to suck it up and be okay with the fan. I got to have at least one fan listening to me. Again, so bad. Anyway, so a couple weeks ago, I was talking with some friends of mine at this group called Squeeze Art Collective, locally here in Long Beach. I got up on stage and I talked to all of them about my quote-unquote art process. Now, their idea about what art process is different than my idea of what art process is. They wanted to probably hear me talk about how I make the art. But I wanted to talk about how I do everything else that surrounds the art. If you listened to last week's episode, you know exactly what I'm talking about. My art process is not just reserved for the paint and the canvas. My art process has to do with every single place that I show up, whether it's here on the microphone or on the camera or on the canvas or on the stage. Now, even further back, I had made a declaration on the vlog that I feel like I am meant to be on stage. I am meant to shine in that arena because I know it. I just feel like I'm good on the camera. I'm good on the microphone. And I know that I would be good on stage. So when I got that opportunity for Squeeze Art Collective, I was like, yes, let's do this. I'm going to do that thing. And I did that thing. And it was not great. Okay, it wasn't bad, but it wasn't quite the level that I wanted to go. I didn't have quite the energy level going on there. Part of that, if we're gonna be real, is that there wasn't a whole lot of people there, and so it's really hard to gain energy from a room that's half empty. I'm not gonna blame anybody for that. I'm just saying that the energy level was a little low in the room, and so I wasn't super easy to get myself motivated. In fact, it was a little intimidating, especially since it was the first time back on stage in a while. So I take full responsibility for that, because if I can get myself motivated enough to talk on this microphone and talk in front of the camera and talk in person, one-on-one to other people, then why couldn't I do that on stage? Despite all that, I'm not quitting. I'm not quitting my intent of being on stage more often, because I do believe it is where I belong. I belong up on that stage, helping people just like I'm trying to help people here. Now, I can't always say that I'm going to help everyone, but at least I'm going to help one or two, maybe a half a dozen of you guys do the thing that you're going to do. And if that's true, then why wouldn't that work on stage? I just need more practice. I need to get up on stage more often. I need to get in front of more people so that I can do that thing more and get better at it and be okay with sucking at first. We talked about that before too. You're going to suck at first. I'm going to suck at first. And so I'm just going to keep practicing, keep doing the thing until I get to a point where once I'm on stage, you're going to be like, damn, Dave just killed that show. But here's the kicker, folks. This is not exclusive to me. This mindset about my potential is not unique to me. You have the potential within you to do these things too. Okay, well, maybe not these things, but your thing, whatever that is, you have just as much potential to do that thing as I do to do my thing. And you might just be super fantastic about it if you just gave yourself half a second to succeed. If you just gave yourself more chances to do good work, then you might kick some serious butt there. But you gotta feel it up here in the head zone thing. You gotta feel it up there. You gotta believe it. Now, I don't know your big hairy goals. Your big hairy goal may be super daunting. It may be like, I want to stand on Madison Square Garden and talk to tens of thousands of people. That's not really my goal, but let's say that is. I mean, that's super daunting, right? That's huge. No, because how do I go from this to that? That's like a gigantic leap, right? Baby steps, kids. Baby steps. I don't remember where this comes from, but the joke is, how do you eat an elephant? One bite at a time, right? Not that I would eat an elephant. But if you were going to eat an elephant, you wouldn't put the whole damn thing in your mouth, would you? No. You would take little bites until you got it all finished. Well, it's the same way with me getting to Madison Square Garden. Not that I'm trying to get there, but if I was, I would start here, small, locally, into another space, and then go to a bigger space, and then go to a bigger space, and then go to more events, and go to more venues, get in front of more people, till eventually I'm in front of Madison Square Garden. It's all about the baby steps. The little tiny steps to get where you're going to do. That is all I have ever done with everything I've ever done. When I started the first podcast, I started out small, and I got bigger and big. Well, not very big. I'm not gonna play myself bigger than I really was, but I got to a certain level of success there, and I did that with baby steps. The success I might have on YouTube is through baby steps. The success I've had in the design industry has all been through baby steps. Okay, for the YouTube folks, I just realized that I wasn't recording this with my regular microphone. In fact, the microphone was completely off, so I wasn't even recording to anything. I'm just recording here on audio. So we're gonna just move that thing right out of the way because it's unimportant. It's ceremonial at best at this point, so we're just gonna move forward. Now, I want to be real for you for just 1 second. I listen to a lot of motivational types. I listen to the Tony Robbins. I listen to the Gary Vaynerchuks. I listen to the Eric Thomas. I listen to the Seth Godins. And I understand that it's a little bit fluffy at times. Except for maybe Gary, because that guy pulls no punches. Anyway, so I listen to them, and I do that because it helps get me motivated. And it also helps me find a little bit of focus, especially when the stuff that they're talking about is very clear-cut and more tactical than anything else. So I like that. And I also understand that that ideology kind of comes through in the way I talk to you. I'm okay with that, if you're okay with that. Understand, though, that as I say these things, I'm not trying to pass this idea onto you. I'm not trying to tell you that you have to be this kind of guy. I don't expect that from you at all. That's me. This is my thing. You got to do your thing. Now, since we're talking about motivational types, this is where some of them would probably drop some quote on you that helps them validate their existence. They might reach out to Alexander Hamilton or Gandhi or Rumi or Thomas Jefferson. Reach out, pull some famous quote about the thing that they're talking about so that it says to them, hey, I know what I'm talking about because this person said it first. I'm not going to do that to you. You can go find your own quotes that validate what I'm saying if you want. I don't really need the confirmational aspect of it from you. I don't need to say, hey, look, I'm a smart guy. These guys said the same thing I did. All I'm telling you is that the stuff that I've done, it's been done before. The stuff that I talk about, it's been talked about before. But maybe, just maybe, it's the voice, not necessarily the person, that gets through to you. Maybe you have heard these things from somebody else, but the minute that I said them, it was like, whoa, Dave's got a point. That's why I do what I do. To make sure that the things that are important, the things that are universally true, get repeated and shared so that you can hear them in potentially a voice that helps you find clarity. And if I ever drop a quote on you, it's not because I'm just pulling it out of the air so that it validates me. It's because I find it to be true and I've acted on it. That is the key thing. If I'm gonna pull a quote here, it's because it's something I've actually taken action on and seen to be true myself. Again, this mindset is not unique to me. It's not unique to you. It's not unique to Tony Robbins or Seth Godin or Gary Vaynerchuk. It's not even unique to any of the famous people from history that they may quote. You just have to believe what I'm saying to be true and then go act on it. If you really want this thing, whatever this thing is that you want, this big hairy goal, if you want this thing, then you need to take it. You need to go get it. And I can't do anything about that for you. Gary Vaynerchuk can't do anything for you. Tony Robbins, Thomas Jefferson, Rumi, none of those guys can do any of it for you. You have to go do it yourself. You have to get out there and do it. You have to believe that you can. And you can't let any of your bullshit excuses get in the way. And when I say that, I mean all the different things that you might tell yourself about why something will not succeed. we could go into the laundry list of what those things might be, but I guarantee you that the minute that I said, hey, why haven't you done that thing, and you start to say, well, then you know you've got a bullshit excuse. That's all you gotta say to me. Well, okay, I haven't quite started because bullshit excuse. Sorry, but I'm gonna keep it real. And now I'm gonna have to mark this podcast not safe for work because I went and dropped the BS bomb. But I don't care. It's important to hear. I am not unique. You are not unique. We all have the potential of doing great things if we are just willing to get out of our own way. And that, a lot of times, is just the key. To get out of our own way. And those excuses that we talk about, push those aside. And that leads us down the path of the right thing. And how do we get there? And taking the action and doing all the things. And even if you're still stuck and you're looking for a spark to get you going, might I recommend a good morning workout. Okay, question of the day. I've decided that's what I'm going to call it because I think it's really ironic that it's actually not question of the day, it's actually question of the week, but I like question of the day just because, and I'm going with it. So just let's get to it. Today's question comes from Connor the Fox. That's all I know him by. Connor the Fox. He must be a really handsome dude. He probably is, ladies. He asks me, I have been uploading a lot to my Instagram and YouTube channel recently. However, I've been told I should have a schedule with my post. I'm trying to improve my methods of uploading content online. So I was wondering, how do you stay consistent with your videos and artwork? Anyways, love the podcast. Stay rad. Connor. Thank you very much, Connor. You stay rad as well. So the answer to that question is yes. I am definitely no Instagram expert, but what I have learned from other Instagram experts is that it's a good idea to post your stuff up there in the times that you are going to get the most engagement. And that might be different for you than it is me, but typically if you're scheduling your stuff, let's say between 9 a.m. your time and say 8 p.m. your time, that's the hot zone. And of course it peaks like this, right? It peaks in a high arc curve that you're gonna get obviously more attraction in the middle of the day. And you might have, you have to go into your own analytics. If you don't have any analytics, I highly recommend an analytics program, maybe Later or some of the other ones that tell you kind of what's happening with your posts. That way you can get some idea about what's happening and know when is the best time to post for your people. With Instagram, it's also recommended by some to post several times a day. You may or may not have that potential, but that is what some people say. Now, the algorithm at Instagram is always changing, and so what may be true today may not necessarily be true tomorrow. So just keep doing that thing and stay educated about what is the best way to approach the situation and do your best job. As far as YouTube, I definitely recommend doing a schedule to some degree, and not everybody follows this rule. You'll find people that have millions of subscribers that don't follow this rule. And then you'll find some creators who have almost no subscribers that follow this rule to a T, and it doesn't help them. Is it a good idea to post your stuff on YouTube on a regular basis at the times that you say you're going to post them? Yes. Is it a good idea to let your people know that you will be posting on some sort of regular basis? Yes. Because then they have some sort of idea about when to expect your content. Give me an example, Dave. I will tell you exactly what I'm talking about. If you look at somebody like Philip DeFranco, he posts every single weekday. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, he does regular content, and on Friday he does a recap. And you can guarantee he's always going to be there unless there's some sort of catastrophic event. On the opposite side of that, you might look at somebody like Casey Neistat, who has been doing vlogging on a daily basis for a while, but as of late has kind of fallen away from that. And when people are super dedicated to watching somebody post stuff up on a regular basis, it feels like they can trust that person to show up, and then when they don't show up, it feels like they were, you know, like rejected It feels like there's a trust broken. Like, I'm kind of bummed that I don't get to see Casey Neistat nearly as much as I used to. Now, I understand he's got a lot of other things going on, but I'm still a little bit bummed that he doesn't kind of own up to his shit about getting stuff done on a regular basis. It really is a good idea to post on a regular basis, and it's a good idea to let people know when that posting might happen. Like, I do my thing Tuesdays and Thursdays. Those are the 2 times a week that you will see me here on the YouTubes. And if you're watching on YouTube, for the people on the podcast, just pay attention as if you were watching on YouTube. So yeah, so I definitely recommend that, and I think it's a good idea, and use with your own discretion and your own time availability. It can seem like a bit of a slag at times because you're doing all this work and you may not be getting the type of response that you're looking for, and you may want to quit. But if all the sources that tell me are true, then it's going to happen with you eventually. You just have to keep getting in there, doing the work, and staying consistent. That's what I hear. I can't speak to it 100% because I'm still a blossoming flower in this space. I'm still growing, and I feel like it's true. Remember how I said earlier that I wouldn't quote anybody unless I knew that what they said was true. And I feel like this is true, and I believe it to be true, and so I'm going to follow through with it as such and take action. So now on to the artist of the day. This is a section that I wasn't sure if I was going to follow through with or not. It was something I wanted to do, but I wasn't sure exactly how I wanted to do it. So we're gonna do it today, but before I was thinking I would just share some random people that inspire me, whether they were big or small, and I realized that that isn't going to necessarily feed the beast. It's not going to help me, and it won't necessarily help some of the people that I share, so I wanted to do it in a way that was going to be beneficial to all parties involved. Now, let me clarify what I'm saying here. If you remember, part of what I was telling some of the people listening or people watching is that collaboration is a major function of what I'm going to be doing this year and the rest of 2017, and it's it's sometimes a little difficult to find those collaborations. So what I was thinking is that I would sort of collaborate with some of these artists by essentially sharing them on the podcast, talking about it and putting their work out there, and then letting them know, hey, I put you up on the podcast. And that way it's like, hey, that's awesome, Dave, thanks. And then you listeners get to hear about somebody cool that you may want to go follow up with. And so there's a good collaborative aspect, and I appreciate anybody who will go and track down the person that I'm going to talk to you about today, who goes by the name of Lianne Tokey. Lianne Tokey is an illustrator and calligrapher based out of Ontario, Canada, and I am connected with her on Facebook and Instagram, and I'll call her friend. I've never met her in person, but we'll say friends because we are friendly. We conversate through messengers. So I talk with her on a regular basis, and I felt like she is one of the people that I am truly inspired by when it comes to the lettering. Her work and my work are nothing alike. My work is junk and her work is lovely, but it's lovely in the way that has an edge. It has some grit to it. It's all very nice and smooth and beautiful, but it's not the picture perfect calligraphy that you see sometimes. Yeah, some of her stuff is, but a lot of times her stuff is a little bit wonky on purpose. It's a little bit off balance in the right ways. It's not like this perfect lettering script that you might find for somebody's wedding invitation. It's something you might see on a restaurant's chalkboard, or on their sandwich board outside their place, or on their window. It's something interesting, it's compelling, it just attracts the eye. And when you go there, which I recommend you go check her out on Instagram at liannetokey.com. I will put a link in the description for anybody. You can find her there. You can find her on a liannetokey.com is her website. Instagram, she is Lianne Tokey. Again, links to all of those things. I recommend you go follow her and check her out. See what she's up to. Say hi, tell her that Dave from Art Lessons said that you should come by, because if you do that, then she'll love you forever, I think. She exemplifies to me what calligraphy should be. It should be beautiful but imperfect. It should feel like it was actually done by hand and not by a computer. And she does, even though she does her work on computer, it doesn't feel like a robot. It feels like somebody's actual hand laid down and put this lettering to task, and I appreciate that. She's always inventing new ways to approach her lettering and her illustration work, and I just dig it. I dig it because not only is she good, but she's also very modest and humble about the work and always wanting to do better. So that's why she's one of my favorite people, and it's one of the reasons why you should go check her out. All right, that's it. That's the last bit. That's the last little piece of this particular podcast episode of Art Lessons. I hope you have appreciated it. I hope you enjoyed the conversation. And if you would like to have your art featured, gladly reach out to me. Gladly reach out to me? Reach out to me and I gladly accept. You can find me on Twitter. You can find me on Instagram. You can find me just about anywhere as @Dave Conry. You can also reach out to me if you want to be the question of the day. If you have a question that you would like to be answered on the podcast, then I will gladly do that for you. I'm using gladly a lot. If you have a question, I will answer it. I can't guarantee that I will be right, but I'll definitely give you an answer. One final push for the subscriptions. Please go subscribe to the show, whether it's on YouTube or on iTunes or wherever you get your podcast listening habits done. Go subscribe to the show and review it and share it with your peeps, because that would be a tremendous help. I'm out here working hard for you folks. All I'm asking for is a nut for the squirrel. A little nut for the squirrel. Who's got a bag of peanuts handy? Toss one my way in the form of reviews and subscriptions and likes and shares. All right, folks, that's it. I'm done. Remember, be good today, be even better tomorrow. See ya.